What's up, y'all? It's Ty. In this video today, we're going to be talking about which of these new Rising the Ranks cards are worth you guys picking up for your specific ultimate team or not, including Theo, including TJ Parker, Sellers, as well as Burke. You guys can see all of the new cards added. You get Brashard Smith, you get Shamar James. All of these cards are new, added into the game. We're going to be going over talking about each and every one of them. So please smash that subscribe button if you are new to the channel. The reason I am doing this on CFB Fan is because right now on the console, when I click on a card, it just dashboards me. So I don't know if it's glitched for you guys or not, but I don't care because CFB Fan's up and working, and so that's where we're at today. Let's start it off at the back. 88 overall, Brashard Smith. 88 speed, 88 acceleration, running back, 88 carrying. Juke move, spin move, not great. Striking is okay. He is a power back. Not one of my favorite power backs in the game, though. Like, I'm not hating on it, but that's just the truth. There are better running backs, better power backs that we do have in the game. Brashard Smith, not my favorite. Shamar James up next. Florida middle linebacker, 85 speed, 87 acceleration, really solid tackler. Change of directions, not great. Block shed, not great. Zone coverage, okay, not great. Shamar James, another card that I'm looking at and I'm like, eek, not one of my favorite linebackers in the game. Next up, we've got Shadray Hurst, okay, left guard from Tulane. Speed, acceleration, not great. Run blocking, not great. Is a solid pass blocker, though. And so, if you do throw the football, Shadar, or I don't even know how to pronounce his name. Shadray, I think is how you pronounce it. Hurst is a solid left guard in the game. To me, if you get him out of, like, let's say a free pack, something like that, he obviously can play. Again, not a card that I'm really picking up in bunches. Jordan Tyson. This is our first card today that I'm like, okay, we got something. 90 overall wide receiver from Arizona State. Here's what I like about him. He's got good speed. He's got good acceleration. He's 6'1". He's going to get open. He can route run with the best of them. The bad part about the card is after the catch, Tyson does absolutely nothing. He's going to catch the ball and then be stunned because he literally can't make people miss after the catch. Doesn't do a whole lot, but he is going to catch football. I like him a ton more than a guy like Jordan Watkins, just because like with Jordan Watkins, his deep route running stinks, whereas you look at Tyson's, it's okay. To me, he kind of reminds me a lot of Megwood. If you've ever ran with Megwood, you know exactly what you're getting. Again, spin move, juke move, not great, but he has good change of direction, good speed. I like Tyson, especially for his price in this game. Tank Pearson up next, cornerback from Ohio, 90 speed, 90 acceleration, 85 is man coverage, 91 zone coverage, only an 80 change of direction, can play press coverage, but the card is 5'9" on the field. For Tank Pearson, I'm just not a big fan of him. When McCoy's in the game, Quincy Riley's in the game, I like all of these cards more than Tank Pearson. To me, he's a fine corner, but if you're picking this card up and running him, all I can really say is I'm sorry. I'm not a fan. Undersized, not great in man coverage. Tank Pearson, yikes. Next up, Ethan Burke, right end. 86 speed, 90 acceleration, solid finesse move, decent enough block shed. He's a fine right end in the game. The problem to me, though, with Ethan Burke is we've got a lot of better right ends in the game. Like Rucker is a rising the ranks player. And the thing is, Rucker is just a better version of Ethan Burke. Genuinely, like, he's just a better version of the card. I would not under any circumstance pick Ethan Burke up, especially when, like, even an Arden Walker is as cheap as he is. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Ethan Burke, a fine player, but he just does not make the squad. Next up, LaNorris Sellers, quarterback from South Carolina. One thing I wanted to see was, what was this throw accuracy stat going to be? 73. And I know initially you guys are like, oh, it's in the red. That means it's bad. But what I want to do is compare that to some of the other top quarterbacks' throw accuracy in the game, because that stat does matter. Then we'll look at the tight spiral. But RG3 is 82. Good. Doesn't throw a tight spiral. Cam Ward, 65. Throws a tight spiral. You look at Trevor Lawrence, 84. Does not throw a tight spiral. These are things that matter. Shadur Sanders, 80 or 60. And so those are the things that matters. Sellers does not throw a tight spiral. Yikes. Like, yikes, guys. That is a big red flag to me. If a card does not throw a tight spiral, it just leaves a lot to be desired. And so for me, like, even if you're comparing Sellers to a guy like RG3, there's no reason to run Sellers. RG3 is way better than LaNorris Sellers in this game. And again, I'm not one to sit here and, want to hype up a card too much, but that's just the facts of the situation. RG3 is way better than Sellers. Even a guy, let's say like Trevor Lawrence, walks circle, or I don't want to say walk circles because Sellers is almost as good of him because he's just as fast. But the problem is for me, he doesn't throw a tight spiral and his throw accuracy isn't that high. I still think because of his speed, there's a reason to run Sellers. But even compared to Milroe, like Milroe throws a tight spiral, I know the throw accuracy is not as good. I personally like Milroe more than Sellers as well. Now, yes, if Sellers does get cheaper, if he gets to, around 200,000 coins, I think there's a case to be made that he is worth picking up. But he's going to have to get to that price because right now, I mean, again, there's none up even on the Xbox marketplace. So it's tough for me to really gas Sellers too much. I don't even know if he's better than Jalen Milroe, which leaves a little bit to be desired. TJ Parker, left end from Clemson. 88 speed, 90 acceleration, great power move, good finesse move, really solid block shed. I really like TJ Parker. If you're looking at the left ends in the game, the other card that is up there that is hyped up a lot is Jack Sawyer. Difference between them, TJ Parker's acceleration is way better as far as some of the other things. Jack Sawyer's just as good. Jack Sawyer's got a better block shed. I think Jack Sawyer is equally as good as a guy. Jack Sawyer, TJ Parker, they're like equally as good. So use the card you want to use more. TJ Parker's price isn't crazy. It's already down to 200,000 coins. So again, I don't mind the card for his price. It just comes down to I think we've got some other cards at that, specific position like a Jack Sawyer that's cheaper, that is just as good. Last but certainly not least, tight end Theo from Texas A&M. Here's the situation with Theo, and I want to spend, I'm not going to spend a ton of time talking about it, but I want to spend a little time talking about it. The card is going to be like 500,000 coins. Now, is he better than, side by side, is he better than a guy like Jack Velling? Yes, he is, I think, side by side better than a guy like Jack Velling. If you compare the two cards side by side, you're probably going to like Theo a little bit more. However, is he as good as Luke Lachey? I don't think so. I think Lachey has the slight edge over a guy like Theo by the slightest of margins. It really just comes down to the fact that I do think Luke Lachey is just going to be slightly better. Again, I think it's close. Luke Lachey's acceleration is a little bit better. I think Luke Lachey is going to just be slightly better, but it's close. Like if you're comparing Theo to Luke Lachey, it is really night and day, or not night and day. It's really, really, really close. Lachey is going to be a better run blocker as well. Theo is going to be your second best tight end in the game, but it's just hard for me when I look at these stats and compare these stats to a guy, let's say like Jack Velling. Like, how are you going to tell me that Velling, for his price, is not worth picking up instead? He's 155,000 coins, and I think he's nearly just as good. So that's why for me and for their price, I'd much rather you guys get Jack Velling than Theo. Because, again, I don't think there's enough to split them up. That's my personal opinion on the two cards. You guys can let me know your thoughts on it, but that's where I'm at as far as those cards are concerned. So when it comes down to the new cards that came out today, I like TJ Parker. Sellers has a place. I just don't know where it is. Tyson, probably my favorite card for his value today. But I'm just not necessarily the biggest fan of today's drop. I think, even at the left end position, we've got a card that's nearly just as good. Now, when it comes down to where the market and the auction house is going to be at right now, that is going to be a separate video because the market is going to kind of do a lot of things today that I want to talk about, especially with cards like Jacob Rodriguez, especially with cards like K'Mon Rucker. Those are going to be cards that do have some pretty big and drastic, market rise and falls today. So those are the things that I'm going to touch on here in a little bit. But make sure to watch that other video. That's what's to know with the worth it's today. To me, as far as worth it, I don't really love any of these big ballers. TJ Parker, probably the most worth it, 92 plus. Jordan Tyson, budget-wise, the most worth it. I'm not the biggest fan of Theo because the tight end position is absolutely stacked. That's going to wrap it up, guys. Drop a like on the video. Subscribe if you're new, and as always, man, I love you guys. Have a blessed day.